Drinking and working on race cars, feeling all behind. Roaring engines and cold brews, that's our recipe. For a good time with my buddies, just wait and see. We've got our tools and our trusty old truck loaded up with cases of beer running amok. We'll tinker and tune, make those engines roar. With a cold one in hand, we'll even the score. Beers and gears, it's our kind of Friday night. Drinking and working on race cars, feeling all behind. Roaring engines and cold brews, that's our recipe. For a good time with my buddies, just wait and see. We've got our tools and our trusty old truck loaded up with cases of beer running amok. We'll tinker and tune, make those engines roar, roar. With a cold one in hand, we'll even the score. Beers and gears, it's our kind of Friday night.
Welcome back to Beers and Gears, episode 18. I'm Blade.
I'm Jonathan.
I'm Lee Kinsella.
So, this is Lee Kinsella. Where are you from?
Born and bred in Dubuque, Iowa.
There you go.
Lived there all my life. Yep.
So,
You got the good track over there.
yeah.
I guess, kind of.
Subjective. Yeah.
And it's a really fun momentum track.
Yeah.
There you go.
It has its moments, that's
Yes.
for sure. Yep.
The few times I raced on it a couple of years ago, is once you get a nice groove, it's really quick.
Yeah, I've been racing there all my life, literally. My dad started racing the year I was born. So I was going there since the day I was born.
Sure.
So in fact, my mom said, I was born in August, and she was pregnant with me. She goes, "You were turning laps just like your dad was inside. We go at the races. There's a noise or something. It's like you're going crazy in there."
Mhm.
But yeah. So my home track, of course, and I raced there my whole career, but I'm not racing weekly anymore. So it's weird to not be there all the time, even though I'm still in racing. But I just I like running the specials and stuff now. So I just weekly racing is a grind. You guys know that.
Oh, yeah.
And especially when you get your shit tore up all the time, and then getting it fixed. And last year was a tough year, and over the winter I'm like I'll run some stuff here and there, but I made it just one of the specials.
Kind of takes the fun out of it.
Well, when it becomes too much of a job, then the fun's gone.
Yeah.
Well, it went from, 6 cars to
Yeah.
way blown out of proportion.
Yeah, 6 cars to 16 to 23.
Woo.
And then the next week there'll be 10. So
Yeah.
it's so all over the place.
It's not as consistent, but everybody's going to be there.
Yeah.
Your top runners are going to be there,
Yeah.
but
And
it's...
there's usually some good iron there. So,
Oh, yeah.
But it's been, stock car class at Dubuque, it's like all out warfare. I don't know what the deal is, but
Kind of turn into hobby stock race.
oh my God, it's like, everybody calm down. I mean, we're not racing for 50 grand every night.
And everybody's always bad.
Well, and everybody's fast. The cars are really close. That's the good thing about the class is that the cars are really close. But then, because they're really close, you can't get away from each other for the most part, unless you're Paul Larson and you get out front and it's silly. Which I like that.
Yeah, because he's in your
It's good
car.
for me.
Makes your equipment look even better than what it is.
Yeah. Well, and having Bone driving for me, people are all the time like, "Well, how come you're not driving anymore? How come you have Bone driving your car?" I'm like, "Well, because I'm okay, but I'm not that guy."
Yeah.
I mean,
You can drive anything.
Oh, you could drive a shopping cart and be 3/4 of the field,
Right?
So, we got to be buddies a couple years ago, and I really wanted to put him in the car because I knew I have a really good car, and like I said, I'm okay, but I wasn't getting the most out of it like I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
So, I knew put him in it, and he's going to get every bit of performance out of it it's got.
Yeah. So far,
yeah, and the results have shown. I mean, we've been struggling some this year. We got the one win up in Darlington last week, which was awesome. We really needed it. But just had some bad draws, bad luck. It's hard when you start with 6th, 7th row in a stock car and there's good guys there. It's hard to get to the front.
Like you said, everybody's so tight.
Yeah. You go to them specials and you got the Murdy's there, and and then Jason Robbins and Casey Shellum and Jacob Ellithorpe and the Miles boys, and there's some fast cars there, and getting up through there is a struggle even for Bone. So, but hopefully we've got some things figured out and get back to doing.
Well, it looked fantastic last week.
Yeah. Well, in my opinion, nobody can run the Darlington track like Bone. I mean, that guy, he's got that figured out. I was thinking during the late model race last night, I was like, man, if I was a guy with a late model,
put him in there.
I'd have been like, hey, man, let's strap you in there. Let's see what happens here.
Okay.
I know we can get it done.
He'll be right up there with that Thornton.
Yeah,
that was a heck of a run for him.
Oh, man. And Dylan is awesome. He's an amazing race car. So it wasn't surprising to see him come to the front and shine. And plus, he won there last year. Yeah. So he knows how to get around the place, too. Got good equipment. So I think there's going to be some big things for Dylan Thornton. I'd like to see him, start progressing more and more in the late model. I want to see Dallin Murdy. I was really
that was awesome to see him get into that thing.
Yeah. It's a transition. Dallin is another one of them guys that's just got so much raw talent. It's amazing. I hate when he shows up at the stock car because it's like, damn, man, here we go.
So you feel like what everybody else feels like when Bo Larson shows up.
Yeah. Gage Neal says to me last year, he goes, hey, man, he goes, why don't you drive that car a little bit more? I'm like, no, because I had too much fun on Boner. He goes, yeah, but we ain't having no more fun. I'm like that. But Dallin is and he's a great guy. Bone put it pretty good the one night. He goes, worst thing is you want to hate the guy, but you can't because he's such a nice guy and he drives clean. He don't wad nobody up and he don't drive dirty and stuff. So, but I was glad to see him have a good run. He faded a little bit after some of the late model feature, but he had a pretty good run. And it's a whole different operation running a late model like that. I've never ran, an open late model like that. I drove IMCA late model, but it's a whole different deal. Although Dallin is amazing in stock cars and he did good in his modified, that level it's a different deal.
Oh, I bet.
You're running against some guys that got amazing talent, really good equipment, and so he's doing good. I'm hoping to see more wins.
Well, half those guys are in a video game, so
yeah.
Which is pretty cool. Like I said, my buddy Eric Bowe's kid. Mm-hmm. We play World of Outlaw video game all the time, and he's like, you make sure that you talk to that Seven guy. He's got a really cool car in the game.
Yeah.
Last year they were parked right across from us, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Just seeing stuff like that. I mean, people who are in video games are running little tracks around here.
Yeah. Well,
I guess they're a Midwest series, so it's
yeah. Even the big touring guys. If you ever get a chance to meet Ricky Thornton Jr., he's a cool guy. I don't know him well, but I know him well enough to walk up to him at the track and he knows.
Say, hey, how's it going? Kind of thing.
Yep. It's really down to earth, and another one that's just immensely talented. And a lot of people hate Bobby Pierce, and I'm not a huge Bobby Pierce fan, but I don't hate the guy either. I'll root for him, but if he's battling with Ricky, I want to see Ricky.
Well, exactly.
But kind of a cool story. Last year when they had the Yankee out at Farley, we're pitted on the backstretch, like across from where everybody's standing on the backstretch. We're pitted across there with our enclosed trailer, a bunch of them stacked up there, and we were running. I can't remember. I think it was Friday night. It was our feature night, and they were running all that alphabet soup stuff. There was A, B, C, D, F, G, whatever. Heat races, qualifying race. So we weren't out there yet. Bone was in the C feature, and they were running the lower ones. And so I'm up there watching, seeing what the track is doing. And I look over, and 40, 50 feet away is the back of my trailer. And I look in, and my wife, she does all the drone stuff, so she's usually around the back of the trailer. So she runs everything out of the back of the trailer and everything. So she's over there, and I look in and I see somebody in, and she had made a couple of crock pots of like pulled pork and stuff. I look in, I'm like, there's a guy in there. I'm not worried about anything, but I'm like, Bobby Pierce in the back of my trailer. So I get down off the golf cart, stand up on top of the car. I get down off of it, and I go back over, and I'm like, "What's going on?" He's like, "I heard there was some food over here, so I had to come and get some." You know, he's like, "All our women, my mom, everybody, they didn't come this weekend, so we're all on fending for ourselves." And somebody said there was a good pulled pork around here, so I came out here, and your wife was nice enough to give me some. So cool, dude.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
yeah.
like I said, people got all kinds of problems with Bobby, and it justifiably so. But he was nice to me. He was cool to my wife. You know, and I've talked to him before too. You know, but I thought, you know, whatever. He pulls a few things on the track that are questionable, but we all do every now and then.
Oh yeah.
I mean, maybe not to the scale that he does, or on the stage that he does.
Exactly. He's on a bigger microscope than we are.
Yeah, that's for sure. You know, he can't be quite as big a peckerhead as the rest of us can.
Yeah.
And still get away with it.
Yeah.
but
those guys are definitely pretty cool. We went down to the Dome.
Yeah.
And we had pit passes, and we went down and saw all the guys we wanted to see. Jonathan Davenport was pretty cool. And
JD's cool.
Kenny Wallace was cool to talk to.
We were down in Florida racing last year, and Kenny Wallace was driving Peyton Taylor's stock car, the Slim Chickens Stroker Ace throwback car, which was a really cool car. I got a picture of. I started on the pole for the feature the first night, and they had us starting 4 wide. My car was the, Bobby Allison, Cale Yarborough throwback car, and then right next to it was a Stroker Ace car. Was the overhead picture. That was pretty neat.
Yeah.
But I talked to Kenny Walsh. We were in the pits of the second track, Southern Speedway, that we raced at. And the first night, I didn't make it to the A main. I got taken out in the heat race by John Oliver, which sucked. That put me in the B. I started like 6th in the B. They were taking 2. I made it to 3rd. So I just missed out on it. But anyway, for the feature, I was up sitting on the grandstands overlooking turns 3 and 4 by the pits. And sat right next to Kenny Wallace the whole 3 or 4 of the features and watching. Super nice guy.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, if you watch his stuff on Facebook or YouTube, which I watch quite a bit of it, the way he is in them videos is how he is when you're talking to him.
Yeah.
Same guy. And I said, "This your first time ever driving an IMCA stock car?" Yep. What'd you think of it? Well, I mean, he's like, I don't know. He goes, they're kind of fun, but they're kind of a joke. And I'm like, wow, really? Because I always thought they were great to drive. They're like driving a regular car, like down a gravel road. But it was cool to get his perspective because he's got a whole different outlook on
modifieds
shit. Between the asphalt racing that he's done and everything. So it was neat to get that kind of raw perspective from somebody that don't pull no punches.
Yep.
He's going to tell you
exactly how he feels.
Exactly how he felt. Good, bad, or indifferent, whether you like it or not. But no, super nice guy. So it's cool going to them bigger races. And most of them people are so down to earth.
Yes.
I went with Luke Murfeld 2 years ago. He ran the Wild West Shootout when he had an open car down in Arizona. So, we were one of the competitors. I forget how many cars there was. There was probably 60 or 70 cars. But all them professional racers, you'd think, and they're all very intense, but they're really good to each other. Believe it or not, some of the crap you see, and especially talking about Bobby Pierce, but they got to race each other week in and week out. So they kind of know, you can't be a bunch of to each other the whole time.
Right.
There's too much. You got to see the guy in 3 days at the next track. So I just was really impressed with all that. There was, I really didn't find any of them that are super standoffish. They wouldn't help you out, or if you had a question, they're get out of here. A couple of the tire guys, because I was working on Luke's tires, and I kind of sniff around, like, hey, so then I beat it. They were a little different story.
Yeah. You don't need to know.
No, Tyler Erb. If you ever get a chance to drink beer with Tyler, take that chance. That guy is a riot. He's hilarious. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh my God. So, but yeah, all life experiences,
And and you've driven just about everything too. We were saying.
Yeah, everything but a 4-cylinder. So, I mean everything from a dwarf car my dad had a dwarf car back in the 90s, which a dwarf car, you know, a legend car is.
Mhm.
A dwarf car is a legend car outlaw, basically.
Okay.
So legend cars are like a spec car. They're all built by one
No,
by 600 Racing
Uh-huh.
down in North Carolina, fiberglass bodies. And well, a dwarf car is the same style of car and chassis, motorcycle engine in the front, you know, everything. But a dwarf car, you could buy. There were several different chassis manufacturers, and you could run pretty much any engine combination. They were like an outlaw deal.
Huh.
So my dad had one of them cars. When he got out of racing for the first time in the 80s, he took almost 10 years off. And then he had a motorcycle. Funny, I brought my motorcycle tonight.
Yeah.
He had a Suzuki 1100
Oh yeah.
16 valve.
Oh yeah.
So he wrecked it, put it down, bad enough that it wasn't worth fixing.
Yeah.
So he had the bike and it didn't hurt the engine at all.
Yeah.
So at that time, these dwarf cars were kind of taking off around. There was a couple guys in Dubuque that had them,
Uh-huh.
and they ran a couple exhibition races at Dubuque. And so he wound up taking that engine up to Minnesota. Torkelson race cars that built them cars and had a car built. So that's actually where I started circle track racing, and that was on asphalt.
Oh.
So my first time driving circle track, which I had drag raced for years prior to that, through high school and right out of high
Legally
school.
or illegally?
Oh well,
Wow.
A little bit of both.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a street car that I street raced and then drag raced for years, and then I bought a full on Chevy Vega back half race car, and I took the drivetrain out of my street car and put it in that, which didn't pan out. My street car was a really good drag car, but my drag car was not a very good drag car. So it was one of the things. So I never had it ironed out, so I got frustrated and I kind of gave up on it. But anyway, my dad was running that dwarf car at that time, and we were actually running Rockford Speedway on asphalt quite a bit, like probably I don't know, 10, 11 times a year. So almost like a season.
Yeah.
You know? And then we'd go down to, it was a series, kind of like SLMR, but it was SM, Small Wonders Racing Association, SMRA. And it was all dwarf cars. And we'd run dirt and asphalt. Dirt at Hawkeye Raceway down in Bluegrass. It doesn't exist anymore. It got mowed down about 20 years ago. Ran Dubuque a little bit. Even had them out of Farley on the half mile one night.
Oh,
Just as an expedition. We had to shift the car like 3 times going down the street. So it goes so long. You know?
Half mile track.
Yeah, my dad come in. My dad come in and goes, I don't want to go that far that fast in this car.
Yeah.
It's a little much.
I can imagine.
Yeah, but he put me in that over in Rockford one night, and I had practiced with it a few times. When you practice on an asphalt track, they let you out there for like 20 or 30 laps because it ain't like a dirt track where you got to worry about the track going.
Right.
Yeah, that's yeah.
You know, actually, the more racing that's on it, the more rubber that's in it, the better it is. So I practiced the car a few times, so I had quite a few laps on it, but that was fun. I mean, you're at 4 inches off the ground, and you got a 130 horsepower
Oh yeah.
4-cylinder engine, and the car weighs 1,000 pounds.
Yeah. Easy.
And got racing
It's all
suspension.
engine, yeah.
Coilovers.
Yeah.
That thing was a blast. So that's actually what I started out in. And then when that kind of ran its course, that series fizzled. The legend cars started taking it over. So it phased the dwarf cars out. So we sold that car. My dad started racing a pro stock, which I was crewing on and doing everything. And that was in 99 and 2000. And then he had me drive it one night out of Farley, and I spun in the feature. Is this on the half mile yet? I spun in the feature. I was running in the back. I wasn't doing very good, but I locked the car down and I sat there and I hear everybody comes. You know, Danny Shellum was running the pro stock back then, and Maya Hurst and all them guys, and they're all coming at me. Everybody missed me.
Oh, no kidding. Oh.
But when my dad got done doing that, he offered the car to me. He said, "If you want to buy the car, I'll provide the engine and tranny. We'll just keep my engine and tranny if you want to buy the car." And I couldn't. I wanted to get married at the time. I was young and didn't start a family, so I didn't do it. That was in 2001. Well, it was 10 years later when I started running a hobby stock. So I was 37 years old my rookie season in hobby stock. So talk about an old guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so started in a hobby stock, ran that for actually only about a half a season, and then I bought a sport mod, ready to race, ran that, and then I built a new car. I ran sport mod for 2 seasons, 2 full seasons, and then quit. Went through a divorce, and Luke Murfeld, buddy of mine, I think he had 5 freaking late models at the time, but he had bought a rolling chassis, like really, really cheap, but it needed everything.
Yeah.
It needed a complete going through all the tin, everything. And I was, going through my divorce, and he's like, "I'll tell you what, you do all the work on that car, I'll let you race it next year." He's like, I got enough parts and stuff laying around to put it on the track and not spend a pile of money. So it was awesome that he did that for me.
Okay,
It kept my mind focused going through my divorce, and
That's all you need, honestly.
yeah, it was a wonderful thing, and it was a great thing that he did for me.
Yeah.
So when I got back in, I went from sport mod to late model, which was a huge step.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah. And I did okay. I had a couple of top fives, but I never won anything. I ran 2 years. The second year, I blew up 2 motors, and I couldn't keep up with that.
Yeah.
It's too much, But so then I started running limited late model up here at Darlington.
Okay.
Yep. Loved that. That was fun. But I wanted to make that class grow at other tracks. We worked hard to try and get it at Dubuque, which we did some. Makoka does some. See, I can't race Darlington on a Friday night weekly because it's hard for me to get off work in time and get up here and everything. So I was like, trying to get things going on other tracks. And I remember Matt Chris said to me when I goes, "Well, just calm down. You can't reinvent the wheel overnight." And I'm like, "Well, I know, but I want to race this class, and I can't every Friday night." And I understand, but so ran that for 2 years, and it was great. I ran Darlington some the first year as much as I could, and then we were running Dubuque part time. And then the second year, running Dubuque part time, but then Dubuque dropped them. They weren't going to have them at all. And that was when IMCA brought in the crate engine. So I thought, all right, I can't run Darlington weekly, so I'll go back to IMCA late model, and I'll put a crate engine in it and rebody the car, and that's what I did. I ran that car 2 nights and sold it.
Yeah.
Well, I had the car for sale after doing the limited late model thing. I thought, I'll just try and sell it and see what happens. And nothing really happened, so I converted over to IMCA. And I got the car ready, raced it first night in Tipton at a Deary Brothers race, and then the first opening night at Dubuque. The Monday after the opening night at Dubuque, a guy calls me from Minnesota. "Hey, you got that car for sale yet?" I'm like, I guess. Everything's for sale for the right price. And, so I didn't really think he was very serious about it, but we wound up striking a deal, and he bought everything I had. Lock, stock, and barrel. The whole shooting match. My trailer, all my tools, all my equipment. I had a few springs left over. That was it. I was out. I was done. I was not going to race anymore.
He dang near took a trailer with him.
Yeah. So after a year and a half of not racing, I was still going to the races, helping Luke Murfeld, and that was fine. I missed driving some, but then I was going to build one of them Airs cars. So I saw that, and I'm like, God, it'd be cool to build a tribute to Chevelle my dad raced in the 70s. That'd be really neat. So I bought a modified, complete, cheap, $6,000, ready to race. It was an okay car. It had a lot of issues. I ran it 2 nights and it was terrible. So I ran modified. I have driven a modified, but I've not driven it. I want to drive Bones' car really bad. Yeah, he's like, "Get in there. PJ won't mind." I'm like, "Yeah, if I wad it up, he will."
You can't really drive a crushed can very well.
Not so well. I tried it in stock car. It don't work out. But anyway, so then I got back into I was going to build this Chevelle, and that's how I got on to knowing Johnny Spaulding. Was I called him, and he didn't know me from Adam. He knew me from racing over the years, but I had never done business with him. I had never bought anything from him, never talked to him. I said, "Hey, I want to build an Airs car, and I want to put a Chevelle body on it." He's like, "I wanted to do that to my stock car, but it's too heavy." I'm like, "That makes sense." He goes, "Yeah, the body's about 100 pounds heavier than a regular Monte Carlo body." I'm like, "Makes sense." So he's like, "I'd like to do it once. I think it'd be cool." So we got into that, and Johnny's busy. It was going to take him a while to do it. So in the meantime, I bought another. I'm a bad marketplace shopper.
Oh, I tell you, I know the same. Yeah.
It's my Achilles heel. So I see this guy had a complete Ayers car ready to race, $5,000. I'm like,
Yeah.
I've spent dumber money,
Yeah.
done dumber things.
At least it runs.
Yeah. So I bought that, ran it a few nights, and then I thought, man, that stock car class looks pretty fun. Maybe I'll do that. Sold the Ayers car, bought a complete stock car from a guy.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a cycle, fellas.
It is.
Don't fall down that track.
Wow.
It's like bad women. It's hard to get away. So,
At least it sticks with you until it blows, I tell you.
yeah, no shit.
Oh, jeez.
So that's how I got into stock cars, and I thought, all right, I really wanted one of Johnny's cars because by this time, and I bought this car, and he was helping me some with it, but it was a B&D, not a bad car, but it wasn't one of his, and he helped me some with it, even though it wasn't one of his cars, which was really good of him. You know, a lot of guys, well, you give me one of my cars, forget it, don't even call me.
Right.
Yeah.
But I knew I wanted one of his cars, and I just didn't want to take the plunge of spending all the money for it. But after driving the car a few nights, I'm like, yeah, this is the class I want. So I called him. I said, get me on the list. How long will it be? This is in July of 22.
Mm.
He said, well, I'll have you ready by the beginning of next season. Perfect.
Done.
So that's what we did. That's how I got the car I got. And that's where we're at. So that's my whole history in a nutshell. There's a lot of points from that, fellas, to take up. Don't do some of the stuff I did. For your wallet and your bank account, it will definitely thank you. Thank you.
Well, I think it was the last episode. You were looking at some left-hander race car, left-hander asphalt car.
It's so easy to fall into that trap because you're like, well, geez, that ain't that much.
I got to pick that up today.
Yeah, that looks like fun.
Yeah.
Oh, and 6 months later, you're like,
then you start working on it.
Yeah. What am I doing?
Yeah.
Why did I do this?
About all the replacement parts, all the safety equipment, make it legal, make it fast.
I always tell people, and these guys that are starting in the Crown Vic class.
Yeah, I've heard about that. Yeah.
I always say to them, there's a couple of them guys, they never drove nothing before. And Charlie's buddy, he's a good guy. Drew, great guy. Drew Peanuts. And won his first race 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago or something, which is so awesome. For somebody that's never driven a car, go out there and win a race. Like it's such a rush. People that don't do it don't understand.
Oh yeah.
They don't. It's like I said to him, I go,
You're hooked now.
You're hooked now. It's over.
Well,
racing is the greatest thing ever.
Yeah. That's what happened to my aunt. My aunt got in for Powerpuff.
Yeah.
And a crappy Cavalier that I had, and she finished second. I told her, you're going to be scared right away. Just floor it, and you won't be scared anymore.
Yeah.
And she got out of the car. She goes, you think they'll let me go again?
Well,
Drew's kind of funny because I think they originally bought it for his son to drive when he turns 14. I looked at his son the other day, and I said, you're not getting in that car.
I know they got, 2 or 3 of them. They bought a couple extra since then, you know.
He's like, oh, don't worry. We got a new car. We can put a cage in. It'll be fine.
People don't understand. People that haven't done it. And I mean, I bungee jumped. I bungee jumped from 150 feet.
I skydive.
I know. I've never skydived. I'd love to do that. I mean, at my age, I probably shouldn't. But my son's a paratrooper, so he knows all about it. He's jumped a ton in the military, obviously. But people don't understand. There ain't nothing.
Racing is higher.
Going into that corner at speed, cars all around you, and you don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. It might be really great. It might be really bad.
Yeah.
But you know, it's like the ultimate rush. I've said it for years. It's the most fun you can have with your pants on.
Hey guys, don't forget to like,
comment,
and subscribe
to the Beers and Gears podcast.
Come on, people!
I just wanna race my race.